Hello, podcast listeners. You are now listening to the Coffee, Health, and Science podcast. I'm your host, Jordan River, and I want to thank you for tuning in today. Before we get started, I urge you to share the Coffee, Health, and Science podcast with a friend, with a coffee lover. We love bringing you coffee and health content, and also, of course, regenerative agriculture content. We're headed back to that topic today with regenerative agriculture and integrated pest management specialist, Marybeth Sanchez. Thank you for coming back on the show, Marybeth.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Jordan. It's always a pleasure.
Here we are. We've done so many great explorations. I feel that we're kind of coming to the end of a road here because you've done such a wonderful... It never ends, though, does it?
You can always dig deeper, and you never know what science is going to come up with next.
Exactly.
Always something.
That's true,
There's
too.
always something.
So true. That's why I love this field, is it's like truly the final frontier. But today's episode is, I guess you could say, a little bit of an overview, a little bit of a conclusion. I want to talk about basically all of regenerative agriculture's effect and purpose when it comes to the health of the earth, using regenerative agriculture to heal the earth. This is
you're touching my buttons there, Jordan.
I was going to say, this is a topic near and dear to your heart and mine, and it's very, very fascinating. So we're going to dive into today, the incredible effects that regenerative agriculture has on the globe. What's going to happen if we don't install this new type of methodology, this new type of farming philosophy? So let's get right into it, Marybeth. We got to start with kind of the bad stuff, the ugly, if you will. I would love to know, after all of your years of study, after all of these explorations that we've done on podcasts, what in your estimation has been the largest detriment when it comes to non-natural farming, synthetic modern farming practices, whether it's the erosion or pesticides, mining for minerals, whatever it may be? What do you think is the biggest threat to us and the earth?
Well, the runoff issue is probably tied really closely with the destructive effects of mining. It's oh my God, the mines are in places where people don't really see them. And if you really, get up there in the air and you look and see what's going on, and you get under the ground and you see what's happening with the stuff that gets into the aquifers, and I can't, there's no words for my shock and horror at what I'm seeing. It's like the most brutal rape of the earth that you can possibly imagine. And it hurts my soul because I have such a thing with the plants and the trees. I feel like I was a reincarnated redwood tree or something. I don't know what. I've got just this relationship with the plants that's like, oh my God, and the soil itself. It's so hideous to see such a sight. It's without a conscience. It's without any thought of the consequence of what they're doing. And they always have a beautiful commercial in the background with the flag waving of how they're saving the world with their by getting this phosphorus out of the ground and getting this potassium out of the ground. And nitrogen isn't so much mined as it's created in a laboratory trying to mimic lightning.
Oh, is that true?
Sort of a way.
I had heard that was kind of a byproduct, a lot of the nitrogen that's used in agriculture. I didn't know that wasn't mined though so much as the phosphorus and potassium.
Yeah, and if you look up on Google at some phosphorus mines and some potassium mines, oh my God, it's what you're seeing, and the sulfur mines, and it's not wonderful for the environment around. Not only that, but the people that live there. There's people that live on the borders of these mines. It's mined land here, and it's residential neighborhood over there.
Right.
And there's a little town over there, and they're all sharing the same water. And this water is just being so unbelievably hideously polluted because to get the potassium or the phosphorus out of the parent material, the ore or what have you, where it is in order to extract it.
The rock.
Oh my gosh, they use unbelievable amounts of water. So some huge waste of a precious resource. And all that water, after they're done with it, is totally polluted with things that are radioactive, things that are so toxic. Besides the radioactive stuff, the heavy metals in it, there's just so much toxicity that they store them in these huge, they make a tower of their slag stuff, but it's like phosphoric acid eats away at these towers. So they're constantly leaking, and the leaks go into the aquifers. And in Florida, where they do most of the phosphorus mining, they're always getting sinkholes. And these sinkholes are because the phosphoric acid is burning right through the containers they've made for them. And it goes straight into their groundwater. And people around there, oh my God, you can't turn on their water faucets because the water comes out now just like they say it smells like kerosene. And they can't bathe in it.
That's
they can't
messed
bathe
up.
in it. They can't give it to their animals. They're just like, we have to leave or we have to get all bottled water. It's just an unbelievable pollutant nightmare that's so completely unnecessary. Jordan, you know that we can get all these nutrients just from the leaves of our trees.
Just compost and do the
microbes. Yes, and just the audacity of what we're doing instead, because we don't see this. We see the package on the shelf at the end of the day, presented to the customer with flowers all over it. They don't show you what that mine looks like.
I'm surprised that was your top answer, but when you spell it out like that, that really makes sense. You said that tied with the runoff, which I found was interesting because once you use those
at that end you get it again.
Yeah, then you get it again.
And they're so soluble and they're so prone to runoff because their instructions to use them tend to assume you're going to have 70% runoff with the soluble salts. They assume that. They give you a percentage to put in the recommended amount, assuming you're 70% runoff, and only 20% of what they're giving you get into the roots of your plants.
That's why these farms get so built up with that salt. That makes total sense. That's brutal.
Oh, the surrounding waterways. There's an Elkhorn Slough in Watsonville, south of me where I am now. It's in Central California on the coast. And this Elkhorn Slough empties into the Monterey Bay, which is like where that Mariana Trench is. The big, oh my gosh, the pollution that they get in the Elkhorn Slough, because Watsonville is a big agricultural area and people were just using the standard agricultural chemicals for years and they didn't care. And it's all going right into the slough. It's killing everything. And going, guess what? Right into the bay. So yeah, they've been going through huge efforts in recent years to restore this and just quit this problem and to try to alleviate it, at least in that spot.
Jeez, that's just brutal. But like you said, it can all be solved. And I've been to these farms. I've been to the farms that farm purity coffee, and they use all regenerative practices. You can get away with with completely avoiding these types of minerals. It is possible. Chris Trump was on this show. He's a macadamia nut farmer, and he lives in Hawaii. And he actually increased his profitability switching to a regenerative agriculture kind of mixed with Korean natural farming type method. Again, no mining. The runoff isn't nearly as much of an issue.
No,
so it is possible to completely alleviate those problems.
And that's another thing that, even if you want to go regenerative, there's more than one way to do that. Yes. And there's a way that suits everyone. True. Everybody can find a way to do this without poisoning the rest of the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, why on earth do we want to go to Mars and the moon?
Yeah, we got to clean up this mess first.
Because we're not going to build condominiums. They're going to go there to mine. Right. That's the only reason that they're putting all the money into going onto outer space. It's the most ridiculous like, what do we need to do that? We've got problems on Earth.
Yeah, let's clean up our own backyard first.
I don't need to go mining the moon.
Well, I think that, like you said, we don't see it. And it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Many people have not even heard of this type of thing. Even if you see a documentary, it's still hard to wrap your head around it. I'll tell you though, when people are really going to notice, when people are actually going to feel it, is when things start to change around us and the supply chains of certain things start to drop. You know what I mean? We talk about coffee. Yeah. The finicky crops are going to be the first things to go. And that's when people were going to start really, really noticing. There was one estimation study done that estimated that the coffee land that's suitable for farming is expected to fall up to 88% by 2050. So there could be,
that's another thing.
There could be only 12% of the current coffee farms still surviving in 2050. Yeah. People hear about climate change But this is the sort of thing that it's weird, but it's just how humans work. This is the sort of thing that actually hits people. The cost of a bag of coffee skyrocketing, the cost of a piece of fruit skyrocketing, a fruit becoming unavailable. Oh, we used to have those when I was a kid, and now we don't.
What if my coffee's not available?
It's weird. That's really how humans work. Especially, like I said, if you've never even tuned into you've never watched Fantastic Fungi, you've never tuned into the Coffee, Health, and Science podcast. This is when you discover what the heck is going on, and you Google it and you realize there's a real supply chain issue going on here with climate and but not just climate, also with just the farming practices themselves. So I think that's what's going to open up people's eyes. I don't want to say unfortunately, Marybeth, but it's just the truth. Pragmatically, that's what's going to open up people's eyes.
It's like a drunk hitting rock bottom. How low do we have to go before we
I shouldn't laugh.
I don't need this anymore.
It's true.
I really don't.
We are going to need some sort of wake-up call, is what you're saying.
Real intervention? I don't know.
Oh, no, alien intervention.
The aliens would
I was just going to say, if that means that it's non-human. You guys have messed up this planet. Oh, boy. But that's the thing. That's why I love what you're doing, because not only can we, for instance, I don't even want to say put out of business the synthetic guys, but, stop that horrific destruction of the earth.
Change their ways. How about instead of mining phosphate, you mine earthworms or something?
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. We don't have to do this.
Yes.
Earthworms are great for increasing your phosphorus and potassium.
But not only is there an alternative, but a lot of the stuff that you do actually reverses a lot of damage. You know what I mean? Like we hear about you got to plant more trees and this and that, but I'd love for you to go into I'd love for you to go into what your style of farming does for the environment that actually helps it and reverses some of this damage, whatever you're willing to touch on there.
Oh boy. Well, fungus is going to be your best friend. I'm sure the bacteria as well, but the fungus more than anything has a magical power that we have never given it credit for until recent years of just getting toxins out of the soil. And boy, are we putting them to the test, And if you are a follower of Paul Stamets, and you can see where he's done, experience after experience where he's related what's happened in these really, really toxic environments where they've gone and just inoculated it with the right mushrooms. And most mushrooms will work, but some are better than others. Okay, some are really great at just cleaning up. So oyster mushrooms.
I was going to say common ones like oysters. Yeah.
Oh, they're very, very, and you don't necessarily want to eat that mushroom afterwards, but you have cleaned that soil and you can compost that mushroom. And later these things, they turn into a different chemical. They go through a process. It's no longer, it's like when you diffuse a bomb, it's no longer going to explode.
Jeez, it's like alchemy.
The magic, fungus, yes. And it's such an important part of the soil structure. And this is why the plowing and all is such a terrible thing, because it just destroys the ability of a fungus to get a good established thing going. Mm-hmm. It just keeps killing it and killing it and killing it. The Rodale people are fabulous about organics and things, but they are so freaking attached to that plow. They will not give up their rototiller. And Elaine Ingham, who used to work for them, said, I just couldn't take it anymore. I could not convince them to quit plowing 12 times a year. Their solution to everything is put your rototiller out and plow again. Add some fertilizer, make it organic fertilizer, but plow it again. And it's like she's so against it because that's the life of your fungus depends on you not ripping it to pieces.
Yeah, all those all those organic farms that I saw, they were all no-till. You could tell that the soil was so undisturbed that it was just it was not like your average garden soil. It was like it was completely undisturbed. It's the only way I can say it was solidified.
It's nice when you lift a pot or you move back some mulch and you can just literally see the fungus right there. You can see the mycelium right there in front of your face. It's really satisfying.
That's killer. Yeah. So the fungus, absolutely imperative.
That's going to be, your number one regenerative tool is going to be fungus. And just, quit putting poison in and quit tilling, get the fungus happy and it'll take care of basically most of the rest.
Doesn't it prevent erosion as well significantly, or is that more of a microbial bacteria thing?
No, but the fungal, think of the mycelium, they're like fibers knitting in a sweater. You need they are holding things together like the roots of the tree hold things together, just make even more so. They get it really a nice thing going. It's so much importance to the soil structure. Without fungus, you get those soils like the old depleted soils in the Midwest where they've been growing corn for 100 years, and they've just been plowing.
Yeah,
They've got not a drop of fungus in the soil, and the
that's where I'm
soil
at.
looks like a caramel. It's got just no airspace whatsoever. It's
Mm.
pale. It's light beige. It's like, oh, it's so dead looking. It supports 100%. What do I want to say? Synthetic nutrients is all that's used on the soils. Synthetic nutrients and plowing.
That is literally, I'm in the heartland of that. I did just speak to a wonderful woman not too long ago, just a couple weeks ago, who her family had started a regenerative vegetable farm down in southeastern Illinois, kind of on the border of Indiana, and they are blowing up because of what you said. They're actually unique.
Yeah.
The Midwestern farming style is very, very synthetic. So
exactly. And I've mentioned Gabe Brown's operation to you many times, and you know how his whole thing, he gave up the plow first, and he gave up feeding second, and he's never gone back, and everything just gets better and better and better. And he's right down in I think South Dakota, and he sells organic produce direct to the customer. Organic, the beef and the pigs and the chickens and all that they do too. Direct to the customer. And he says there's a line all the time. They cannot keep up with the demand. They're never short of cash. They never have to go to the bank for money. They never have to ask for a loan. They're doing very well. And it's 100% just, letting nature take its course. Part of their land is absolutely devoted to just being untouched prairie the way it's supposed to be. With the real native grasses, the real native wildlife. Part of their land is 100% devoted to never being developed for any reason commercially.
Why are we subsidizing that sort of thing? Like this has to be explored. This has to be adopted and instituted. One of the things that I know is absolutely crucial that I feel we have to touch on, and this is something that should just go away with stopping the use of chemical pesticides, but the assault on pollinators that we've had recently. If that pollination chain breaks, it's game over for the cycle of life and for nature's basically natural reproductive cycle. So switching from these,
you want to go hand pollinate every crop on Earth? Oh, okay.
Yeah, good luck with that. So Marybeth, I know that that's one of your special fields, but that's got to be one of the biggest threats to our current system is switching from these chemical pesticides, which yes are effective but are incredibly dangerous, to some of the natural pest solutions like you have that still work great and have none of those side effects. So it's just weird that we haven't done that already. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that just as simple as signing a law? It's just, I know that there's more to that, and there's lobbyists, and everybody has their interest in. But why haven't we just done that?
The commercial interests have the power and the money and the politicians.
Yeah,
Europe is almost insect free right now. They went so gung ho with the really toxic pesticides that they've wiped out so much of their insect life over there. They are in really critical condition.
That's messed up.
You can hardly find a honeybee in Europe anymore.
That's super sad to me. That can't be right.
Yeah. And in the United States, they're always having a struggle with them. People are encouraged to keep bees all the time just to try to keep bees going.
Yeah.
It really is a European honeybee that we're fussing over here that we've imported. But it's still a fabulous pollinator.
Oh, absolutely.
It's done really well for us over here.
Absolutely critical for a bunch of natural systems. And I have someone out here that keeps bees locally. Something I've always wanted to do. Speaking of which, what can we do as individuals? That's a massive one. I have my little bee waterer in the backyard, but I'm sure you're going to suggest things like doing home compost. So many people now growing because of COVID. I mean, if you can find a silver lining in the horrible pandemic that this has been, that's one of them. People are growing their own stuff at home. But what do you suggest people do if they're passionate about this and they're angry about those salt mines? What can we do at home to contribute?
Well, at least start there with doing the best practices that you can. At least start there with trying to avoid using those synthetic products and try to go for the more intelligent solution, like use manure instead of potassium sulfate or whatever. Use manures, kelps. Kelp's one of the best sources of all those minerals because that's the other place that they all go. It's into the ocean, and they're taken up by the kelp and by those bottom feeders in the ocean. Everybody wants all those meals from the sea creatures. especially the bottom feeders, the crab meal, the shrimp meal, that kind of stuff. It is loaded, loaded, loaded with all those minerals that we've let leach out into the ocean. But there it is for us to recycle, along with being right there in our own plant. So if you do want to get inputs, just, choose ones that are not mined, but rather harvested from a thing that's perpetually growing. Like seaweed grows so fast. You don't need to take the whole plant out. You just need to take the top off and let the bottom stay there. But it grows so fast. It grows ridiculously fast. So when it's thriving, it's just a fantastic source of nutrients.
Critically important, though, with the selection of what you're putting into your home garden, and also what you're putting into anything in your home as far as weed control, pest control in your home. I would also say completely rethinking your just any of the dogmas you might be stuck in, like the lawn rat race, the grass lawn rat race. So many more people switching to many, many different alternatives, from rock lawns to cacti, whatever.
Lawns are one of the worst offenders in the pollutant thing. They're one of the very worst. They put out more lawn chemicals than they do on regular agriculture.
Yeah.
It's absolutely astonishing the amount of lawn chemicals. People are addicted to those lawns, and they
there's
want
so many
green,
great
and the
alternatives.
golf courses. Hundreds, and please don't get me started.
So,
but that's a big deal of
huge
it.
deal. Yeah, because especially because the gutters are
what
right there.
You're planting.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. And again, it's all really. I'll say this as well. Learn about your climate, because why is the lawn so irrational? Really, it's because we're trying to put it across 50 states. When I used to live in California, in the beautiful redwoods, as you aforementioned, the lawns would come on the road. I didn't need to do anything for my lawn. It was just but there are people in Arizona who are trying to keep up their lawn, and it's just if you switch to
Southern California,
or Southern California, if you switch to a cactus or a rock lawn, it is going to be beautiful, and you are going to be so happy to have that time back. 100%.
Oh yeah. Oh, no more mowing.
Exactly, man. So I do think the point I was making there is learning your climate.
Plant according to your climate.
Learning your climate.
Please don't grow tropical things in the desert. I mean, come on. I mean, it's nice to have a little conservatory here and there where we can all go look at them, but every yard doesn't need to
not
be
if
a
you're
tropical
city planner.
paradise.
Not if you're zoning. Not if you're zoning for Phoenix. Don't throw down a bunch of sod. Just don't.
Don't.
Oh,
Please,
man.
we don't. There's other ways to do a golf course than grass, okay?
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I did want to shout out, who was it? It was either Chris Trump or maybe Leighton Morrison, who's been on this show, and he was talking about one of his friends who went to a Bay Area, San Francisco area golf course, which are some of the worst offenders, and they wanted to, they knew they were bad offenders, and they wanted to switch their golf course to a regenerative organic golf course. And he set up this whole system with recirculating water and microbe rich this and that. And I guess that it was actually it was a waterfront golf course, and it was actually cleaning the bay. Wow. I wish I could explain it better and do it justice, but
no, I love that.
It was a really really interesting tale to say that we don't have to give up everything, but we do need to change your philosophies.
We can do it differently.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, I just posted a picture on my family Instagram account where it's a vegan cheesecake, okay? And the point of that is you can
have your cake.
You can have it all. It is so good. It is so delicious. And I'm like, oh my God, I can still eat this.
You're so funny. That's exactly the analogy that I'm looking for. You can have your vegan cheesecake and eat it too.
You can, and without a conscience. Oh no, it's going to be fabulous to eat. And oh God, it's good. Jordan, it's good.
This was a wonderful exploration. I was going to kind of do a last point here, talk about some other really interesting ways to heal the environment that very, very intelligent people have been working on. You mentioned the use of fungi. Here's what I was thinking, and what I wanted to run by you. Almost everything you do is more of a returning to a natural state. And a lot of the ways that people are looking to heal the environment, like launching reflective satellites into space and geoengineering, they're brilliant when, on paper, but I worry about their unintended consequences, So I don't know. I guess I just wanted your take. Is it more about engineering the planet back to health, or is it more about returning to a natural, in your opinion, lifestyle. So we don't really have to worry about, because what happens when those satellites start bumping into each other is my concern.
Oh God! Oh God! I mean, we do come up with the craziest ways to get around.
Right, and maybe it's a great idea. I don't know.
Actually,
I'm not smart enough to know, but I feel like everything you're saying is just getting back to a natural state. You know what I'm trying to say?
Well, I do see that there is more and more people going that way, and that's encouraging. I see more and more organic farmers. At least they're making the steps.
Yeah.
More and more fields. When down in Watsonville, big agricultural area, you'll see more and more fields that you pass specifically with signs posted saying this is organic here. Don't spray here, because commercial sprayer companies are hired by the farmers to go out and spray their fields, so they might accidentally go to the wrong field and just start spraying.
100%.
And it's happened more than once. So they do, if they care about it, mark their fields. Expressly don't want the drift from the windy days and things. There's a lot more of that kind of signage being seen. So I know there's a lot more of it going around, and there's people in that area talking to the other farmers and convincing them. So they slowly.
It's going to be a blend.
It's not fast enough for me, but I think it is happening because they really are noticing that they are depleting their soil, and the buzzwords are that you do need biology. This is something that we've only just kind of really started figuring out this century. And they're really behind.
And it's going to be a blend as people slowly transition, and as both the kind of sides of the pendulum, the extreme scientific kind of advanced technology side and the old school ancient wisdom side. I think it's going to be a blend. They're going to come together. There's going to be a little bit of this, a little bit of that. This works best. I think that's a really good point. And also, as people begin to transition, as you said, it is a blend between this new style and the old style, which isn't so new. In fact, your style is the old style.
It's coming back in fashion.
This was just a wonderful exploration, Marybeth. I cannot thank you enough for today's episode.
Oh, thank you, Jordan. It's always a pleasure.
We will let you go with an early sign-off, Marybeth. Thank you and have a great day.
Problem.
Get to that cheesecake, and we'll see you next time.
Ooh, honey, there's still some left.
Oh, my God, I want some.
I'll look forward to talking to you.
Take care,
soon.
Marybeth.
Take care, Jordan.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. She's the best. What a great episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We've got more Coffee, Health, and Science podcasts coming by soon, shortly, every Saturday. We'll see you next time, everybody. Have an extraordinary day. Bye-bye.